The man in the hoodie. The wind outside howled through the cracked glass of the old supermarket doors. It was just past 8 p.m., and most of the city had already gone quiet. Streetlights flickered, casting long shadows that reached into the store every time the automatic doors slid open. Behind the checkout counter stood a young woman named Lily. She wore a faded blue apron and shoes that had holes in the soles. Her back ached from standing all day, and her fingers were stiff from scanning frozen items in the cold air of aisle 7. But her eyes, large and gentle, still held something rare, kindness that hadn't been worn down by hardship. Lily had only been working here for a few weeks. She'd taken the night shift because it paid slightly more, and she needed every extra dollar. Her mother was sick at home, hooked up to an oxygen machine. Her little brother had missed school that day because he didn't have clean clothes. They were barely holding on, but Lily refused to give up. As the clock ticked toward closing time, she glanced at the nearly empty store. Just one customer remained, a tired father with a crying baby in a stroller. Once he left, Lily began tidying her lane and preparing the register count. That's when the doors opened again. A man walked in slowly, head down, shoulders slouched. He wore a baggy hoodie, jeans that dragged slightly on the floor, and an old pair of sneakers. His beard was overgrown, his face partly hidden under the hood. Most would have written him off as a homeless man or a drifter, but Lily noticed something strange. He didn't move like someone who was lost. He wasn't confused or looking around nervously. He walked with purpose, slow, quiet, but certain. He grabbed a few items off the shelf, a bottle of water, a banana, a pack of instant noodles. Then he approached her register. Lily offered a soft smile. "Hi, how are you tonight?" The man said nothing at first. His voice, when he finally spoke, was low and calm. "Just hungry." Lily looked at the items. Total, $4.19. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out 3 crumpled dollar bills and a handful of coins. He laid it all on the counter and looked at her with tired eyes. "Is it enough?" Lily paused. She counted it quickly. He was short by about 30 cents. Normally, store policy was strict. No freebies, no rounding down, no charity. But something about him. His hands were scarred, his fingernails were cracked, and his voice carried more weight than the words he spoke. "Yeah," she whispered, pushing the items into a paper bag. "You're good." His eyes lifted. He looked at her, really looked at her. And in that moment, something flickered behind those tired eyes. Something powerful. But he said nothing more. Just nodded and walked out into the night. Lily didn't know what it was, but her heart felt heavy after he left. Not in a sad way, more like she had just made a decision that mattered. She turned to finish cleaning up when her manager, Tom, walked over. He was middle-aged, bald, and always carried the scent of burnt coffee and frustration. "Did you just let that guy go without paying full price?" he barked. Lily froze. "He was only short a little and—" "Store policy," Tom snapped. "We don't run a charity here. You want to help people, do it on your own time." Lily looked down, swallowing her frustration. "And don't think I didn't see you cover the difference from your own tip jar. We'll be reviewing this." Her cheeks burned. She nodded quietly. She needed this job. She couldn't risk it. Not now. But deep inside, she knew she would have done it again. What Lily didn't know, what no one knew, was that the man she had just helped wasn't some nameless drifter. He was Keanu Reeves. He had been filming nearby and decided to take a break from everything. The cameras, the praise, the pressure. He wanted to see what people were like when they didn't know who he was. He wanted to remember what it felt like to be invisible. And tonight he had found something rare. Not just kindness, but kindness without cameras. Kindness without reward. Keanu sat quietly on a bench near the store, the brown bag on his lap, steam rising from the noodles as he poured hot water from a thermos. He looked up at the neon sign of the store glowing against the black sky. Her name was Lily, he whispered. His eyes closed for a moment. He had made his decision. Meanwhile, back inside, Lily finished her shift and clocked out. The air was cold as she stepped into the night. She wrapped her thin jacket tighter around her and began the long walk home. The streets were empty. Her bus had already stopped running. As she crossed a quiet intersection, a black SUV slowly pulled up beside her. She hesitated, clutching her bag. The window rolled down. It was the man in the hoodie. But now the hood was off, and the street light hit his face just right. Her eyes widened. It was him. Keanu Reeves. "You walk home alone every night?" he asked gently. Lily couldn't speak. "Get in," he said. "It's safe, I promise. I owe you." She stared, unsure if this was real or some strange dream. But the warmth in his voice, it matched the eyes from before. She got in, and that's when everything began to change. The secret ride home. Lily sat in the front seat, her hands gripping her bag tightly. The silence in the car was filled with quiet tension, not fear, but disbelief. Keanu Reeves, the Keanu Reeves, was driving her home in a black SUV, and none of it made sense. He glanced over, calm and steady. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. I don't understand. Why were you dressed like that? Why come to our store?" He smiled faintly, eyes focused on the road. "Sometimes I need to step away from the world, to see what's real. Not the Hollywood stuff. Just people. The way they treat each other when no one's watching." She looked down at her lap, embarrassed. "You must think I'm weird for helping a stranger." "I think you're rare," he said gently. His words hit something deep inside her. Lily had been called many things in her life, naive, soft, foolish, but rarely rare. That word stayed with her. As they drove through the quiet streets, he asked, "What's your story, Lily?" She hesitated, then spoke softly. "I live with my mom and little brother. Mom's been sick for years. Medical bills ate through everything. Dad left when I was 10. I work the night shift because it's the only one they offered. It's not much, but it keeps the lights on." He didn't interrupt, didn't pity her, just listened. When they reached her neighborhood, Lily pointed to a small apartment building with peeling paint and broken steps. Keanu pulled over. "Thank you for the ride," she said, still unsure if this was all real. He looked at her. "Can I walk you in?" She blinked. "Why?" "Because the world isn't always kind," he said simply. "But tonight it should be." She smiled shyly and nodded. Inside the apartment, everything was dim and quiet. Lily's mother lay on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, coughing softly. Her little brother, Max, sat nearby trying to fix an old toy car with tape. Keanu stood in the doorway watching. He didn't speak. Then Max looked up. Is that John Wick?" Lily chuckled. "Max." But Keanu knelt beside him and smiled. "Not tonight, buddy. Tonight I'm just Keanu." Max's eyes sparkled. "You're real?" "As real as this," Keanu said, handing him a shiny silver pen from his pocket. "A gift. But only if you promise to fix more than just toy cars when you grow up." Max grinned wide. "I promise." Lily's mother stirred, confused by the voice. Her eyes opened slowly. "Mom, this is Keanu," Lily said gently. "He helped me get home." Her mother gave a tired smile. "The actor?" "Yes, ma'am," Keanu said. "And your daughter helped me first." After a brief visit, Keanu stepped outside. Lily followed him to the door, unsure what to say. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "Don't," he replied. "You already gave me more than most people ever do." Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a small card. It was plain. No logo, no flashy design. Just a name, a phone number, and a message. "Call me. You have a kind heart, and I have a plan." Her eyes widened. "A plan?" He nodded. "Sleep well tonight, Lily. Big things are coming." Then he disappeared into the night. Lily barely slept. The card sat on her nightstand like a puzzle. The next day, she returned to the store as usual. But everything felt different. She had a secret. A quiet one. A good one. At lunch break, she finally called the number. "Hello?" His voice came through the speaker. "It's me," she said. "Lily." "Good. I hoped you would call." "What's the plan?" she asked nervously. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he said, "Can you meet me at this address after your shift? Bring your brother." He texted her the location. It was across town, somewhere upscale. After work, she picked up Max and boarded the long bus ride. They arrived at a large studio building. Cameras, lights, and black vans filled the parking lot. "Are we in a movie?" Max whispered. Lily held his hand tightly. "I don't know." A security guard greeted them and escorted them inside. The hallway was filled with posters from famous films, some with Keanu on the front. They reached a room marked Production Suite 3. Inside, Keanu sat at a table with two other people, a woman in a suit and a man with glasses. He stood when Lily entered. "Welcome," he said. "You're right on time." Lily looked around nervously. "Why are we here?" He gestured for them to sit. "Because I'm starting something. A new project. Not just another movie, but something real. I'm launching a foundation that helps people like you. Working hard, doing the right thing, but stuck in unfair systems." She blinked. "Me?" "Yes. And you're going to be the first story we tell." Lily froze. The woman in the suit added, "We want to document your story, not for fame, not for money, but to inspire change, to remind people what kindness looks like." Lily looked at her brother, who nodded quickly. "I don't know if I'm special enough for something like this," she whispered. Keanu smiled. "You are, because you helped a man when no one was watching, and now the world's going to watch you." The days that followed were a whirlwind. The studio arranged for medical treatment for her mother. They got Max enrolled in a better school. A camera team filmed parts of their daily life, and Lily shared her thoughts in quiet interviews. And one afternoon, Keanu took her to the set of his upcoming film. "This is where I work," he said. "But the real stars aren't always on screen." She blushed, overwhelmed. He looked her in the eye. "You made me believe in people again, Lily. And now it's my turn to help others believe in themselves, starting with you." But not everyone was happy about it. Back at the store, Tom, the manager, saw the news starting to leak online. Photos of Lily with Keanu, whispers of a documentary, rumors about a kindness foundation. And Tom's face twisted with envy. He had fired people for less. "She thinks she's better than this place now?" he muttered. He didn't know it yet, but his days as manager were numbered, because Keanu's plan had only just begun. Kindness under attack. The sun had barely risen when Lily received the first message. Her coworker Jamal had sent a link. "You're trending." Confused, she clicked it. There she was, standing beside Keanu Reeves, handing him a small paper bag at the checkout counter. The headline read, "Cashier helps hungry stranger," not knowing it was Keanu Reeves Undercover. Her heart raced. Her phone buzzed again. Messages poured in, some from classmates she hadn't seen in years, others from strangers. "You're the girl from the story. You made me cry. Bless you." Finally, someone with a real heart. And yet, not all comments were kind. Some accused her of doing it for attention, even though the moment had been private until Keanu chose to reveal it. Others criticized her appearance, her clothes, her voice from a short interview clip. But Lily focused on what mattered. Her mother was getting better. Max was smiling again. And Keanu's foundation had just launched its official platform. The first featured story? Lily. The power of unseen kindness. Inside the old supermarket, Tom was fuming. He held his phone tightly, jaw clenched. The story had made national headlines. Customers were coming in just to ask about the girl from the register. They didn't care about groceries anymore. They wanted photos, wanted to know if Keanu had been here again. Tom wasn't used to being ignored, especially not by corporate. But today, corporate was buzzing with praise for Lily. He slammed the break room door and called his regional manager. She broke policy. "I told her not to give away food. I want her gone." The reply was curt. You. Fire her now and you're the one who'll be gone. Tom's hands trembled with rage. He hung up. A few feet behind him, Jamal heard everything. He didn't say a word. Just slipped back onto the floor and quietly texted Lily. Be careful. He's watching you. Later that afternoon, Lily arrived at the studio again. She was meeting the head of Keanu's new kindness initiative, a woman named Alicia Chang. She had spent years working in nonprofits, and now she'd partnered with Keanu to build something different. Real stories, real action, real help. Lily, Alicia said, welcoming her warmly. You ready for your first community project? Lily blinked. My what? Alicia smiled. You're not just the face of this movement. You're part of the engine. We're going to send you out to help others, just like you helped him. Lily's heart pounded. But I've never done anything like that. Keanu walked in then, holding 2 cups of coffee. You already did, he said, that night at the register. Now we give you the tools to do it again and again. Lily smiled, feeling strength rise in her chest. Okay, she said, where do we start? The next few weeks changed everything. Lily visited schools with underpaid teachers, gave food to shelters, and listened to the stories of exhausted single parents. She wasn't just handing out money. She was showing up, connecting, caring. Each moment was filmed, not to go viral, but to build a library of hope, a growing wave of proof that kindness wasn't gone. It just needed light. And through it all, Keanu stood beside her, not as a movie star, but as a teammate. A quiet force behind her, helping doors open, but that growing light brought shadows. One cold evening, Lily returned home to find a paper taped to her apartment door. Eviction notice. Her heart dropped. She rushed inside. Her mother sat quietly, staring at her hands. Max clutched a pillow tightly, eyes worried. What happened? Lily asked. Her mother looked up. Someone bought the building. Lily read the notice again. New owner. Strict policies. No exceptions. They had 30 days. She tried calling the number listed, but no one answered. The next day, she learned the truth. Tom had used money from an old inheritance and partnered with a private buyer to purchase the building. He'd heard Lily lived there, and now he had power over her. Guess life's fair again, he sneered when she confronted him outside the store. Her voice trembled. You're doing this out of revenge? I'm doing this because people, like you, don't deserve the spotlight. I've worked here for 20 years. No one ever thanked me. She stood silently, shaking. Enjoy the interviews, sweetheart, he said coldly. Just don't forget what happens when the cameras leave. Lily felt crushed, but she wasn't alone. 2 nights later, Keanu showed up at her apartment. No cameras, no press, just him, standing there in the hallway. She opened the door slowly, eyes red from crying. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "Come with me." He drove her and her family to a modest but beautiful townhouse, freshly renovated, safe, warm. A small garden out back, 3 bedrooms. Fully paid. "This is yours," he said. Lily gasped. "I can't. This is too much." Keanu placed the keys in her hand. Kindness shouldn't be punished. And this is just step 1. He had partnered with a housing initiative. Lily wasn't the first he planned to help, and wouldn't be the last, but that wasn't all. "I need to show you something," he added. He drove her back to the studio, this time into a private media room. There, on a large screen, was a new documentary trailer, The Cashier and the Stranger. Her story, their journey, and it was going live in 2 weeks on a major streaming platform. But Tom had one more move left. When Lily returned to work the next day, security was waiting. She was handed a letter. "You're being terminated due to unauthorized interactions with customers on company time." She was stunned. "What?" Jamal stepped forward, trying to argue, but Tom smirked from behind the glass. "Should have stayed quiet," he mouthed. Lily stood frozen. But then, a voice behind her said calmly, "She's not fired." Everyone turned. Keanu stood in the entrance of the store, hands in his jacket, eyes locked on Tom. "You don't have that power anymore," he said. Tom laughed. "Oh yeah? You don't work here. This is my store." Keanu stepped forward. "No," he said. "It's mine." He held up a folder. "I bought the entire chain yesterday, this location included." Tom's face drained of color. "You're lying," he whispered. "Want to see the paperwork?" Keanu asked. Tom looked around. Cameras, phones, everyone watching. His mouth opened, but no words came out. And in that silence, Lily realized something. She wasn't the same girl who scanned groceries with her head down. She had found her voice, and the world was finally listening. Her voice shook the world. The air inside the supermarket felt frozen even though the heater was on. Customers stood still. Employees stared. Phones were out, recording, capturing every second. Tom was speechless. His face had turned pale. The documents Keanu Reeves held were real. The ownership was real. The store, the chain, everything had changed hands overnight. "How?" Tom finally managed to whisper. Keanu's voice was calm but strong. "You turned a place of work into a place of punishment. You used power to hurt someone who was just trying to survive." He turned to Lily, standing beside the register where everything had started. "Lily," he said gently, "you don't have to work here anymore. But if you want to stay, this place is yours to run. I trust you more than anyone else in this building." The room erupted into whispers. Lily felt her knees wobble. "You mean me? Manager?" "Manager, co-owner, whatever title you want," he said with a small smile. "You earned it." Her heart beat so loudly she could barely hear anything else. The girl who barely had money, for bus fare, now held keys to a future she never dreamed of. Tom, red with anger, turned and stormed out, nearly knocking over a display rack on his way. Jamal clapped softly. Then others joined, even customers. And suddenly, the store wasn't just a store anymore. It was something else, something new. The next morning, Lily walked into her old job wearing new clothes. Not fancy, still simple, still her. But her head was high, her shoulders strong. A new sign had been posted near the front door. "This store is now part of the Kindness Initiative, run by people, for people." The team gathered for a morning meeting, and Keanu introduced everyone to the plan. The store wouldn't just sell food. It would donate meals weekly, offer quiet jobs to people in need, keep a corner shelf where any hungry person could take something, no questions asked. And Lily? She would lead it all. The shy cashier who once gave away a banana and noodles now stood at the front, giving direction and purpose. But outside the store, the world kept watching. The trailer for the documentary, The Cashier and the Stranger, had already gone viral. Social media lit up with praise, tears, reactions. Her kindness gave me hope. I needed to see this today. If Keanu Reeves can be kind, what's stopping me? The movement had begun, and Lily's phone didn't stop ringing. First, news outlets wanted interviews. Then schools invited her to speak. Local mayors offered city awards. One by one, the world wanted to know more about this ordinary girl who did something extraordinary by simply being kind, but all the attention wasn't easy. One night after a long day of media, Lily sat in her room staring at herself in the mirror. Her eyes looked tired, not from work but from pressure. Keanu knocked gently and stepped in. "You okay?" he asked. She shook her head. "I never asked for all of this." He sat beside her. "You didn't, but you inspired it. I feel like everyone expects me to be perfect now. Like if I make one mistake, the whole thing falls apart." He nodded. "You're not perfect. Neither am I. The point isn't to be flawless, it's to keep trying, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." She looked at him. "What if I disappoint people?" He smiled. "Then you keep going. Disappointment only matters if you stay there." She took a deep breath. He placed a small notebook in her lap. "I want you to start writing your story, your version. Not the cameras, not the headlines. Just you. She opened the first page. Blank. Waiting. And that night, Lily began to write. Days later, Lily stood on a stage at a school assembly. Rows of kids stared up at her, waiting. Some knew her face from online. Others just came for the free snacks. She held the microphone tightly. I used to think kindness was small, she began. Something soft. Something you hide when the world is too hard. The room quieted. But kindness is strong, and it matters. Even when no one's watching, especially then. She looked out at the sea of young faces. One small act changed my life. But more than that, it showed me that we can all change someone else's life, even if it's just for a moment. The applause didn't come right away. It started with one kid, then two, then the whole room. She stepped off stage, heart pounding, and found Keanu waiting in the wings. You spoke from your heart, he said. That's all I have, she replied. It's more than enough. But while the movement grew stronger, Tom wasn't done. He'd been watching from a distance, growing bitter. He had lost the store, lost his reputation. But he hadn't lost his connections. And now he was planning something bigger. He leaked a story to the media. Viral kindness girl faked her moment with Keanu Reeves for attention. It was a lie, but it spread fast. Some people believed it, others defended her. But Lily felt the weight of it like a stone on her chest. She walked into the studio the next day with tears in her eyes. What if people stopped believing? Keanu handed her a file. Truth doesn't panic, he said. We've documented everything, every step. You never chased the cameras, they came to you. And now, we'll show the truth. A press conference was held. Not with drama, not with anger. Just facts. Video clips, security footage, witnesses. And then Lily stepped up to the mic. Her voice didn't shake. I didn't ask for fame. I asked the world to remember kindness. If that's a crime, then I'll wear it with pride. By the end of the broadcast, the false rumor had been crushed. Tom vanished from headlines. And Lily, she was stronger than ever. The Kindness Initiative now had over 10,000 volunteers in dozens of cities. Food banks, shelters, kindness shelves in stores. Local heroes were being honored, just like Lily, and through it all, she remained grounded. Her mom, now improving with better care, cooked dinner for the family again. Max brought home his first perfect math score. And Keanu, he stood beside them, not as a star, but as family. One evening, as the sun set behind the city skyline, Lily sat with Keanu on a rooftop. What happens next? She asked. He looked at the horizon. We keep going. Kindness doesn't end with one story. But what if people forget again? He turned to her. Then we remind them. She smiled because now she knew. Sometimes it only takes one simple act to light 1,000 hearts, and hers had already lit the world. The kindness chain. The morning after the press conference, the world had shifted. Lily's name wasn't just trending, it was everywhere. Not for the scandal that tried to break her, but for the truth that shone brighter. And this time, it wasn't just about one cashier and one actor. It was about the thousands now standing up saying, I want to help too. Keanu Reeves had started the Kindness Initiative as a quiet ripple, but now it was a wave. And Lily was at the center of it. It began with small things. A boy in Iowa left free sandwiches on a park bench with a note. Because someone once helped me. A retired teacher in Florida offered free tutoring to kids who couldn't afford school help. When reporters asked why, she smiled and said, I watched Lily's story. It reminded me why I became a teacher in the first place. But the most powerful moment happened in a small town in Montana. A local news station picked up a story of a teenage girl who paid for an elderly man's medicine when his card got declined. Her name was Joanna. She said, I saw a video of a girl who helped someone without knowing who he was. I figured if she could do that, maybe I could too. The video went viral. Lily watched it on her phone while sitting beside her mother in the hospital's recovery garden. Tears filled her eyes. They're doing it, Mom, she whispered. They're really doing it. Her mom smiled softly, reaching over to squeeze her hand. You gave them permission to remember their goodness. A few days later, Lily was invited to speak at a global conference in Los Angeles. It was a big deal. CEOs, artists, activists, people from around the world would be there. Even the First Lady had confirmed attendance, but Lily was nervous. I'm just a cashier, she said quietly to Keanu backstage. Not anymore, he replied. You're proof that kindness doesn't need a spotlight to matter, but sometimes the spotlight needs kindness. She stepped onto the stage. The lights were bright. The crowd, huge. But she remembered what Keanu told her once. Speak from your heart and someone's heart will answer back. She took a breath. I didn't grow up with much, she began. We struggled, and there were many nights I went to sleep wondering if life would ever get better. But one night, a man walked into the store where I worked. He looked tired, hungry, cold. He didn't have enough money for what he needed. So I helped. She paused. I didn't know it was Keanu Reeves. I just saw someone who needed a hand. The room leaned in. You don't need to be famous to matter. You don't need a camera to be good. You just need to care. Even when it's art, especially then. Silence followed. Then the entire room stood up. The applause was thunderous. Even backstage, Keanu's eyes glistened. After the speech, Lily met a woman named Alejandra, who ran a children's shelter in South America. Your words gave me strength, Alejandra said. I want to partner with your initiative. Let's do this together. Then came a doctor from New Zealand, a firefighter from Canada, a farmer from Ghana. One by one, people from across the globe stepped forward. They didn't want fame. They wanted to help. Lily realized something big. This isn't just a kindness project anymore, she told Keanu later. This is a kindness movement. He nodded. And you're the heart of it. But as the light grew brighter, shadows tried creeping back in. Tom resurfaced. This time, he appeared on a podcast that liked stirring controversy. He claimed Lily had been coached, that she'd been chosen by Keanu for publicity. He even said the kindness initiative was a business scam. The host laughed and added fuel to the fire, and within hours, hashtags like Tamar fake kindness and Expose Keanu started trending. Lily watched the video, her heart sinking. They don't even know me, she whispered. Keanu stepped in. But this time, he didn't fight back with interviews or press releases. He invited Tom to meet. In person. In a quiet room in a downtown building, Keanu sat across from Tom. Tom was defensive, arms crossed. What do you want, Keanu? To threaten me? Keanu shook his head. I want to understand. Understand what? Why you're hurting. Tom blinked. What? People who try to destroy kindness usually have something broken inside, Keanu said calmly. You weren't always like this. Tom's lips trembled. For a long time he said nothing. Then he spoke. I gave my whole life to that store. I did double shifts, skipped holidays. And no one ever said thank you. No one ever noticed. Then she comes in, helps one guy, and suddenly she's the face of the world. His voice cracked. I felt invisible. Keanu leaned forward. You were never invisible. But bitterness blinds people to the hands reaching out. Lily never wanted praise. She wanted to help. Tom looked down. And for the first time, he cried. Lily met him a few days later. Not for revenge, not for a headline, just to talk. They sat in a quiet park. Tom held a coffee cup, unsure of how to look at her. I'm sorry, he said finally. She nodded. I know. I don't deserve your forgiveness. She smiled gently. Maybe not. But kindness isn't about what people deserve. It's about what they need. And just like that, another chain link of kindness was forged. Weeks passed. The Kindness Initiative became the Kindness Alliance. It now had centers in 10 countries. A digital map tracked live acts of kindness every day. Lily would check it each morning, her favorite routine. She watched dots appear and bloom. Tiny acts, big hearts. One morning, she saw a name light up on the screen from a small town in Ohio. Customer tipped waitress $500 after watching Lily's story. Next to it, Keanu Reeves secretly donated 10 laptops to rural school. And another, Max, age 11, helped classmate with speech disability win school contest. She gasped. Max? My Max? Her little brother peeked from the doorway, grinning. I forgot to tell you. She hugged him tight. That night, Keanu and Lily sat on the roof again, looking at the stars. Do you still think you're just a cashier? He asked. She laughed. No, I think I'm a bridge now. He smiled. A bridge to where? To a better world. He looked at her. And the world's finally crossing. They didn't need cameras. They didn't need fame. They had something, stronger, a spark of good, and it was spreading. The legacy of one small act of gentle rain fell across the city as Lily stood in front of a large auditorium. It had been exactly 1 year since that night, the night she handed a hungry stranger a bag of food, not knowing he was Keanu Reeves. And today, the world was gathering to celebrate the anniversary of something far bigger than a single moment. The Kindness Alliance had grown beyond imagination. In just 12 months, over 6 million acts of kindness had been logged through the network's app. More than 50,000 volunteers had joined across 60 countries. Schools, businesses, shelters, and even government offices had created kindness corners, spaces where help was offered without judgment. It all came from that one moment behind a dusty register, on a quiet night, with no cameras, no applause, just a decision to do good. And today, Lily would speak not to inspire, but to honor. Inside the auditorium, the crowd was massive. World leaders sat beside school teachers. Famous actors stood quietly beside community volunteers. And on every seat was a small card that simply read, Kindness starts with you. Backstage, Keanu waited quietly. He wasn't here to speak. He wanted the light to belong to Lily. He stood off to the side, his hands in his pockets, eyes soft and proud. You ready? Alicia asked, walking up to Lily. Lily looked at the mirror one last time. Her dress was simple, light blue, with a small pin on the collar that read, Hope. I think so, she whispered. Then she stepped onto the stage. The room fell silent. 1 year ago, Lily began, I was a tired cashier working the night shift. I didn't know anyone important. I didn't have any special title. I didn't even think my story mattered. She paused, looking over the crowd. Then someone walked in. He looked hungry. I helped him. Not because I wanted anything, but because it felt right. A hush swept the audience. That man was Keanu Reeves. But that didn't matter in the moment. What mattered was that he was human. And so was I. Lily's voice grew stronger. I stand here today not as a hero, but as a reminder that we don't need permission to care. We don't need a reason to be kind. We just need the courage to act, even when no one's looking. The crowd rose to their feet. Applause thundered through the building, but the moment wasn't over yet. After the speech, Keanu stepped onto the stage. Not for a speech, but with a small wooden box in his hands. Lily, he said softly into the mic, this isn't an award, it's a thank you. From the world. He opened the box and revealed a single golden heart-shaped pin, engraved with the words, for the one who reminded us. Lily took it with trembling hands. The audience applauded again, many in tears. Then, to everyone's surprise, Keanu turned to the audience and said, Now it's your turn. Go remind someone else. The next few weeks were a blur. Lily was invited to meet the United Nations, asked to contribute ideas to schools, offered book deals, but she kept her focus simple. Real people, real change. She spent her days traveling to small towns, walking into classrooms, hugging shelter volunteers, sitting beside people who had lost everything, and just listening. The world didn't need more noise. It needed presence. And she gave it. One quiet morning, Lily returned to her original supermarket. It had been remodeled, brighter, warmer, friendlier. The back shelf was now a community pantry, and next to it was a wall of photos, everyday people who had helped others through small acts. Right in the center was a photo of Lily in her blue apron, holding out a paper bag, smiling kindly. Beneath it, the words read, "It started right here." She smiled. Jamal walked over, holding a clipboard. "We saved you your old apron, you know," she laughed. "I think I'll frame it." They walked down the aisle together. "Funny," Jamal said. "You used to cry on your lunch breaks here. And now the world knows your name." She paused. "But they remember the kindness more than me. And that's how it should be." As the sun set that evening, Lily returned home. Her mother was standing in the kitchen, stronger than ever. Max was on the couch with his laptop, designing a logo for his school's own kindness club. Keanu came by after dinner. He had stopped bringing security or assistance months ago. Now he was just a friend. Sometimes family. They sat on the porch, watching the stars. "Do you think this will last?" Lily asked quietly. "This kindness, this movement?" He looked up. "People will forget sometimes. The world will get noisy again. Hard. Unfair." He looked at her. "But then someone will remember you. Your story. And they'll pass it on." He pulled something from his pocket. A small envelope. Inside, a handwritten letter. "This came today," he said. "From a girl in South Africa. She gave her lunch to a homeless man because she remembered your story." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "See?" Keanu smiled. "You lit a spark. It's traveling." Years later, the Kindness Alliance became a global network of people from all walks of life. Hospitals had kindness corners. Airports had Lily booths, safe places for tired travelers to ask for help. And each year, on the anniversary of that first moment, millions of people celebrated World Kindness Day. Not because Lily became famous, but because Lily stayed human, and her humanity reminded others of their own. Sometimes, when no one's watching, someone still walks into a small store. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're hungry, maybe they're lost and behind the counter. Maybe there's someone who remembers what Lily did. Maybe they smile. Maybe they help. Maybe they change a life. Because kindness never asks for attention. It just asks for courage. And one girl had enough. Courage to change the world. With a banana, a bag of noodles, and a heart that never asked for anything in return.